Hello vinyl community, welcome back if you are a returning viewer. Hello if you are a first time viewer. Quick thank you to anyone that has liked and subscribed and left comments, much appreciated. Really enjoy reading your comments on the videos, yeah, feel free to carry on doing that, and I'll always respond. So thank you to those that are doing that. If you haven't already subscribed, it's free, and obviously you'll then be notified of new content and that type of stuff. So today's video is the June vinyl finds with a bonus CD and a couple of singles as well. So for those of you that have watched before, you'll probably be aware that I'm having quite a significant lifestyle kind of event this week. As of the end of the week, I will be leaving my employer of 35 years and heading towards a bit of semi-retirement before proper retirement next year. So these vinyl finds videos may become a little bit more sporadic because obviously I need to be a little bit more careful with the pennies now, because my income effectively will cease until I get my pension next year. So but all is good. So in June, been to a couple of places, the Malvern's record fair, which was a lovely day out, and then we went to a little village called Wenlock, which is quite local to me, and without even knowing it, there was a bookshop that also sold some records, so that was quite good. So I picked a couple of things up there. So just going to show a couple of things before those that came since the last video. So I'll blame Phil Aston at Now Spinning magazine for this one. So this was ridiculously cheap on Amazon. So I bought this about 6 or 7 weeks ago, which is Slade Alive, which is one of the all-time great live albums of the 70s. Slade are quite local to us as well, so you have to like them if you're from the Midlands. And that came on this lovely kind of splattery vinyl. How good is that? So for about, I think it was sort of like £8, something like that, brand new, that one. So lovely gatefold, Noddy and the boys in kind of full glory there, and kind of weird cartoon and stuff like that. But yes, couldn't resist that for that price. And also in the bargain basements, which I was really pleased to find this one. This is a record store day issue, and it's worth, for those that find record store day a tad expensive, which I think personally it's getting a little bit like that, and I'm buying less and less every record store day. I often have a little browse around on the Amazon marketplace a month or two after record store day, because I think an awful lot of releases don't sell in quite the quantities they were expecting, and one of those was this one. This is Black Sabbath's second album, Paranoid. Again, recreating the original gatefold, like thus. Now, I have got numerous copies of that album already, but again, the price point of this was so low, and when I hold it up in a minute, you'll understand why. So these are quite stunning looking, and I deliberately ignored that one on record store day because I thought it was overpriced for what it was. So again, this dropped, I think, off memory serves, around £15. So and it was brand new sealed, so happy with that one. And I think that does keep up my Black Sabbath record store day releases. So what else has turned up? So I'll do a CD. So for those of you that watch my Style Council video, which actually is doing very, very well, actually there's more views of that than the Jam one. One of the commentators on there is Beatley Tones Beatle channel. He pointed out there was a CD of the Style Council's B-sides called Here's Some That Got Away, which is this one. And this was a Music Magpie £2 something over delivered kind of CD. I didn't really realise once, because I hadn't got it, there's about 10 unreleased tracks on this, so really, really good. All of the classic Style Council B-sides, or most of them, and then a load of unreleased stuff, which is actually really good. It's a really good listen to that. And shockingly, you cannot listen to that on Spotify. It no longer exists. And I did do a Spotify playlist of the Style Council stuff, and there are quite a few of the B-sides that you can't stream. So that catalogue needs a bit of attention, but really good B-sides bands, the Style Council. So over to the lovely village of Wenlock, which is not that far away from us. So my poor old wife, you know, nice Saturday morning, got some food in, going for a bit of a walk, lovely sunshine, and there's a little second-hand bookshop, which turned out to be a massive second-hand bookshop there. And in a stroll, and the first thing, there's a big sign saying vinyl records at the back, and there were a lot of vinyl records at the back, and actually they were all in pretty good condition. However, whoever owned the shop was not, unfortunately, a little old lady who was going to give them away for £1 a pop. It was somebody who'd done the research, and everything I thought was highly priced at the top end of kind of median value. So a little bit frustrating, because I had a good look round, and I thought they were a tad overpriced personally, but diligent chap that I am, I did keep going, and eventually I found a couple that I thought were reasonably priced. So the first one is quite a common album, Fleetwood Mac's Greatest Hits. So this is the Stevie Nicks and Lindsey Buckingham kind of area best of. So a very, you know, very common album sold by the bucket load. However, this one is the very, very first kind of press, if you like. So this is the 80s version, not the kind of one you would get now, which is like probably digitally remastered. So that was a tenner. Got the original in her and that type of stuff. But a new copy of that would be about 20 quid. So I thought for £10, and it's absolutely pristine. That album is. Don't think it's been played. So that was a good one. But even better, in the racks. Now this one I don't see very often at all, and it's an absolutely classic album. So Patti Smith's debut, Horses. So it's not an original press, because if you notice there's the dreaded barcode, so it's an 80s press. But again, it's absolutely immaculate, and this is an all-time classic on the Arista label. If you haven't got this, obviously go and get one, or stream it, or whatever. Absolutely brilliant album, and that, well, I think was £7. So that was probably the best of the buys. So I did have you'll be pleased to know I diligently went through everything, but those were the best two that I found there. And I also found, which I've just realised isn't here, a U2 single for £3, Fire, which and I've got the double pack, but this was the single disc, so that was so I got that as well. So that was Much Wenlock. Fast forward a couple of weeks later, the UK currently is in a little bit of a sunshiny, heaty kind of day. Hence me doing this video quite early in the morning, because it's getting hotter and hotter and hotter. And what happens in the UK when the sun comes out, you literally run into your gardens, do all of those jobs that you never get a chance to do because it's always raining. So about 20 fence panels have been painted over the last week. It's a good job I'm retiring. Yeah, so I'm quite knackered. Enjoyed the garden, but it would be nice to come indoors and listen to records, but you can't do it when the sun's shining, can you really? So Much Wenlock, a small village. The Malverns is a big village on the top of a hill, and the clue is the Malvern Hill. So there's a record fair advertised on Facebook, one of the few things Facebook's good for. Yeah, had a look, thought, oh, that'd be quite a nice day out. Not been to the Malverns, don't know why. Beautiful neck of the world. Parked miles away because I like a walk, much to my wife's disappointment. And up to the record fair we went. Lovely place in a tiny little church. I'll put some photos at the end of the video. I don't know if it's a church. It's like quite an historic building of some description, but it was lovely. Not too big, not too small, just right. Nice hour kind of mooch around. So what I tend to do, for those of you who have a significant other that you drag along to record fairs, is I kind of set challenges for us both as to find things, because sometimes when I go into a record fair, I go a little bit headless chicken, and I just go, whoa, there's 50,000 records here, and within 10 minutes I've spent all my money and haven't really looked around. So what I do is I set us a challenge to find what should be an easy to find kind of common record that's not in the collection. And we normally pick something that's maybe got a big hit single on it, but we haven't got the album. So something like, for instance, Joan Jett and the Black Hearts, I Love Rock and Roll, classic single, isn't it? hadn't got the album, so that was the last challenge we had, which turned out to be really hard. I thought that would be a common album. We eventually found that one in an antique centre, which you never found it in a record fair. Prior to that, we had Survivor's Eye of the Tiger. Eventually got that, and what it does is it kind of gives us both a bit of a focus, and it makes life a little bit more interesting for my good lady wife, who likes the music but probably not to the degree that I do. So this week's challenge was Trevor Horn's Frankie Goes to Hollywood fame, Pet Shop Boys fame. Yes, he was in there, wasn't he? But he was in a band called Buggles. And the big single off this is Video Killed the Radio Star, which it never did it? But at the time, that's what everybody thought. They thought MTV would dominate and radio would die, but didn't work out that way, did it? So who watches MTV now? But yeah, so that was the challenge, and we call it, normally we have bragging rights as to who finds it, but on this one we call it a score draw because I found it, but I'd actually been to the stall it was on before, missed it. My wife was looking at something there, and while she was looking at something, I did another flick through and I went, oh, there it is. So yeah, so that did cost 20 quid. This album, actually, I didn't realise it's actually getting harder and harder to find. So delighted to find that, and actually in really good condition. So great album. The next thing that I found, now I was really pleased with this. So this was on one of my lists. When I was going, I thought I was looking for some free albums. I've got a couple I'm missing, and I thought if I spot this one, I will grab it. So this, I spotted this, was delighted that, really good condition, UK first press. This is Peter Green of Fleetwood Mac fame. For those that don't know, Peter Green was the original kind of leader of Fleetwood Mac, along with obviously Mick Fleetwood and John McVie, a big UK blues band that became phenomenally successful, and at the height of their kind of powers and fame, all kinds of strange and unfortunate things happened to all of the guitarists. So they ended up basically with no one, and many years later recruited the duo of the Greatest Hits set, and the rest is history. But this is his first solo album. I've got this on CD. It's a beautiful album, quite spooky, very kind of laid back instrumental stuff. It's hard to describe, but it's a really, really good album, worth checking out. Really nice late night kind of listen to that one. So delighted about that, and I think it was 15. And then let's see what to show you next. Hold on. The next one I spotted was another one that was in the if you see it, grab it kind of list. So we've got the second album by this band, and this is another 80s classic, this one. So Fine Young Cannibals, this is their first album with Johnny Come Home on it and the cover of Suspicious Minds. But I haven't spotted that for years and years and years. And every time I guys look through the slightly cheaper stuff for the 80s stuff, I always look for it, never found it. So £4 that was. So I was well pleased with that. Yeah, it's still got a little hype sticker and everything on it, again in immaculate condition. So pleased with that one. I then picked up one of the Heart albums. So I think this one is Dreamboat Annie. Nice gatefold there. Been picking up some Hearts albums. This is more my wife's kind of taste than mine, but my wife really likes the 80s version. I actually really like the 70s version, so I think I've got a couple of theirs now. So if I spot them, I get them. That was about £6, I think. But delighted to find that one. Back to the 80s. Grab this one because what I'm tending to do with the 80s stuff is, I might do a video of this in the future, is the ones that were massively popular but nobody really talks about albums, and are they any good? So back in the day, 1981 or 1982, this lot, Haircut 100, were absolutely huge. I remember all the girls like Nick Haywood. I was about 11, so probably very jealous of him at the time, but there's some fabulous singles on this. Obviously Love Plus One, Fantastic Day, Stinged Out, I think Favourite Shirts, Boy Meets Girl. It's really really good album. But I picked this one up. This was a £5 because inside, obviously you get the very nice record, which is there, but inside it comes with a little book which was still there, like a little thing, and little stickers or postcard thingies that you could glue into it like a football album. So I thought for a £5, you know, it did say free booklet, and lo and behold, it was still there. I couldn't leave that one behind, so Nick Haywood belongs to me now. And I have to give a shout out to my wife here, who spotted the next ones. So I'd been to this stall and he'd got a little sign up saying all albums in this £10 each, or 3 for 25. And when I looked through, I thought I can't really find more than one, and £10 I thought was a little bit high. Half an hour later, my wife called me back over and said, "Oh, there's some good stuff here, and it's 3 for 18, I think it was. I think they were." And I went, "Well, no." I said, "It's 25," and I'd read it wrong basically. So, because long story short, these ones were, I think it was £6 each, or 3 for 15. So these are all a £5 effectively. So this is the one my wife had spotted, which is Eddie Bricknell and the New Bohemians. Has a big hit single on that called What I Am. I think she went on to marry Paul Simon. So that was my wife's choice. While she was flicking through, she went, "Don't you like this lot?" And this is Visage's second album called The Anvil. And I brought the Fade to Grey one a couple of months back, and a lot of people on the vinyl community channels have said this one's actually a better album. So yeah, I'll grab that for a £5. And then to make up the offer, this again is my good lady wife, so she's got I think all of his other 80s albums and a best of on vinyl, but this is a Paul Young album from 1990. And for those who know the vinyl, the 90s albums are slightly hard to get, but for £5 that was that one. So that was the Malvern, sorry, not the Malverns, that was the Malverns record fair. I also had a flick through for some singles and managed to find, already mentioned U2, but I think that was £3. There was another one, £3. So these are the Actung Baby singles. Now I switched to CD singles with U2 around this time, so these are great because eventually, if you get them all, they kind of make a picture of a car. So I've got one already, and I think there's one on the way, so I should be able to, on a future video, show the car. For those who've seen my Jam video, you know I was picking up Jam singles, so I managed to get Going Underground and Eton Trifle. Eton Rifle. So yeah, pleased with those. And I also finally managed to get one of the live EPs to go with Snap that you may just be able to see. Yeah, it's it, just up the top there. So that's the missing single from my vinyl album. So that's Reunited. And you would think that's it, wouldn't you? But no. As we then left the record fair, had a little look-see around the lovely town of Malvern. Lovely cathedral, lots of places to eat there as well. Really nice place, actually. On the way back down with an ice cream, we were walking down this massive hill because we'd walked up a big hill. I think we ended up walking something like 7 miles that day, so kept ourselves fit. As we were walking on the way back to the car, sign record store, and this I think was called Discovery Records. Didn't know it was there, which is unusual for me. I've normally done a bit of sneaky research and kind of checked out if there's a record fair, where the record fair, if there's any other record shops. But in we went, and it's a building that had like 2 parts. So we'd got one part that we would call like his B stock, where there was tons for a £5 and then tons for a £10. And then in his main shop, he got the more curated stuff, which was a bit more on the pricey side, but you know, very nicely done, and kind of specialised, I think, in like jazz, hip hop, and stuff like that. But there was some rock stuff and things like that. So in I went to the £5 section. My wife was flicking through there for the 80s stuff. I sneaked over to the £10 section and was delighted to find this one. So again, I think I might have to blame Phil Aston for this one on their Spinning magazines. He's just done a big Judas Priest ranking video, and I very rarely see Judas Priest stuff. So again, they're a Midlands band, but on vinyl rock stuff, I don't see very often. So I was really pleased with this. So this was £10, but I'm pleased with this one because I've got to give it a clean, but it's on the Gull label, so I'm pretty sure it's a UK original press when I had a look at it. So for a tenner, I think that's probably, looking at Discogs, more of a £30 to £40 kind of album. So one that I rarely see, so pleased with that. And then when my wife was flicking through the £5 things, we found a missing Billy Idol album to our collection. So for those that might be thinking, why would you buy Billy Idol? This has got the full 8-minute 12-inch version of White Weddings. This is actually a remix album, but the best track on this is the last track on side one, called Flesh for Fantasy. It's got one of the best guitar parts of the 80s. It's absolutely really, really good. So I had this on vinyl years and years ago, and when I did a little vinyl kind of purge, I let it go because I'd got it on CD and I've always regretted it. So for £5, well happy with that one. That kind of, I think, gets me all my 80s Billy Idol back in the collection. And there is one more to show you. So I am a member of Vinyl Me Please, and my record of the month has just turned up. So this is the Rock pick, and this is T-Rex's, I think, 5th album. So this is the one before Electric Warrior, just before he went full on electric. So it's got Ride a Right Swan on there, but it's kind of a little bit more the folky stuff as well. So it's a nice album that. Again, got the CD, not got it on vinyl, so delighted to get that. And that came on this lovely kind of, I don't know what you class it as, a greeny, clear, cokey bottle type of vinyl. So yeah, so that is the June vinyl finds. There may not be a July one because I'm trying to be a good boy and not spend loads of money on records now. Although we have got an agreement that you can't go cold turkey completely, can you? So there's a record fair in Stratford at the end of August, so I think I might be allowed to put a little bit of money aside and tool for there. So hope you enjoyed that. Next video will be the top 25 most valuable records in the collection. It's really interesting, that, actually, so I'd come back for that one if you're unsure, but yeah, check that one out. It's quite surprising. So yeah, so thank you for watching. The sunshine is out in the UK. England are playing in the football tonight. Let's hope it's better than last week's slightly tense affairs, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Have a good afternoon.